We'll go and get this meeting started this evening. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this general meeting of June 8th, 2026. And we will go ahead and start with a roll call, please.
Benson. Here. Birch.
Here.
Brunick.
Here.
Sarda. Conkling.
Here.
Hunoff.
Here.
Mosier. Spencer.
Here.
Mayor Villanueva.
Here.
City Manager Leon.
Here.
City Attorney Denherter.
Here.
Okay, next we'll go ahead and approve our agenda. Do I have a motion to approve our agenda as we see it?
Move to approve the agenda. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Okay, agenda is approved. Next, we have to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 26th, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So motion to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the minutes. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Okay, minutes are approved. Next, we have the schedule of bills. So you have those bills before you, Commission. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
Move to pay the bills. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. We'll go ahead and do actually, any discussion on that at all? None? Anyone from the public? Okay, roll call, please.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hunoff.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, bills will be paid. Next, we have the city manager's report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the commission, and members of the public. Just a couple things for you. Lisa handed out some paper copies of our capital improvement plan as well as the outside agency document that we'll be talking about tonight. There's some extra outside agency spreadsheets in the back if the public would like to look at them. Also, the capital improvement plan is on our website. You do have that in your SharePoint as well, but I know sometimes it's easier to look at that on paper. So that's there for you, as well as another handout we'll talk about later this evening as we get to that portion of our meeting. Also, I want to thank the Sertoma Club for their very generous donation to the Capitol Building Rehabilitation Project. Some of you may have seen that in the paper, so we're excited about that, and we thank the Sertomans for helping us out with that project. We have a change in the 4th of July solid waste and recycling schedule. We do have another meeting before that, so I'll be making note of that before the next meeting, so just heads up on that. We will be having a runoff election for governor. I'm sure you all heard about that. The date for that is July 28th, and there'll be more details to come on that as well. I have had a discussion with a couple of you regarding conflict of interest and how that applies. and perceived conflict of interest and what the exact rules are. We do go over that briefly when we talk, usually in the summer months at the dashboard, but there's been a request to have a little more in-depth discussion. So once we get past a little bit further on our budget work, Ross and I will work together on putting together a work session, and we'll plan a discussion for that with you. I don't have anything further, Mayor. If there's questions from you or from the public, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Okay, thank you, City Manager. Commission, do you have any questions for the City Manager or any comments? Having none. The only thing I will bring up is last week, I did get some questions about not having our city attorney here. We will always have the city attorney here when we have commission meetings. I think there was just some, potentially just an error in communication. That won't happen again. So when we do have a commission meeting, we will have Ross or a designee here.
Yeah, there's room in the roster to make sure someone can be here, so.
Sounds good. Okay. Okay, if there's nothing else, then we'll go ahead and move on to public appearances. So next, this is the time for anyone that has something they'd like to speak to that is not on the agenda to please come up to the microphone and speak your piece. Okay, I'm seeing no movement, so we'll move on. Next, we have scheduled presentations, and right now it looks like we have no scheduled presentations at this moment. So next, we'll go to consent items, and there are no consent items on this agenda. And we'll keep moving right along to old business. At this moment, there is no old business on the agenda. So we'll keep on moving along here. Now we get to some new business, and we do have a few things on here. So today we'll go ahead and start with new business. We have the transient merchant license, consideration of memorandum number 26-127, recommending the City Commission approve the application for a transient merchant license received from Shane Vaughn, doing business as Homestead Steaks LLC, 12796 Woodland Circle, D'Iberville, Mississippi, 39540, from July 3rd, 2026 to July 7th, 2026, to sell frozen prepackaged boxed USDA meat in the Menards parking lot located at 3210 Broadway Ave. Commission, do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any commission discussion? Seeing no mics come on, anyone from the public? Seeing no movement, roll call, please.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 2 under new business, we have surplus property and equipment. This is consideration of memorandum number 26-128, recommending that the City Commission adopt resolution number 26-26 and authorize the disposal and sale of surplus property by online auction. Commission, do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any commission discussion about the surplus property and equipment? Seeing no mics come on, anyone from the public? Seeing no movement, roll call.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, item number 3, this is the introduction of a request to vacate ROW and establish date for public hearing. This is consideration of memorandum number 26-129, the introduction and recommendation that the City Commission establish July 13th, 2026 as a date for a public hearing for the vacation of unimproved 33 feet of section line right-of-way in Section 13, T93 North, R56 West, that adjoins to the west side of Lot C of Vanderhuel's addition to the city of Yankton. And before I take that introduction, Mr. Beast, would you please explain kind of what's going on here?
There's a process that we don't see a whole lot because we don't do an enormous amount of vacations, but the request tonight is to introduce and set July 13th as the date you'll actually consider the vacation, the information of which is in your packet along with the pertinent information about the Planning Commission action and the publication dates of some notices we're required to provide before you have that hearing.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do I have an introduction?
Introduce.
Okay, that item is introduced. So as a reminder again, that is July 13th of 2026. Next, under new business, we have item number 4, the Sidewalk Cafe Permit. Consideration of memorandum number 26-130, recommending the City Commission approve a 2026 Sidewalk Cafe Permit for the Boathouse, 5 Futures LLC, Christian Hunoff at 301 East 3rd Street. Commission, do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, and I see, would you like to explain? You're at the mic. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so in your packet is a discussion of the Sidewalk Cafe permit application for the Boathouse on East 3rd Street. There's also a graphic included in the packet which shows a layout of the proposed Sidewalk Cafe, which is the exact same layout as last year. So it's pretty much same verse.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. Thanks for the explanation. Any more commission discussion? Anyone from the public? Seeing no movement, roll call, please.
Brunick.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hunoff.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, next we have item number 5 under new business. This is the 23rd Street Bridge Replacement Project, change order number 2, project number 2023-026, consideration of memorandum number 26-131, recommending the City Commission approve change order number 2 in the amount of $34,640.69 with Alliance Construction for the 23rd Street Bridge Replacement Project. And I see that Adam has moved to the mic, so before we take a motion, would you give us a little explanation about how the project went?
Yeah, this is change order number 2, like the mayor stated, just some actual quantity, field measured quantities, bringing those current, extra riprap, density, controlled density fill, concrete curb and gutter removal. As you know, or you may know, the street is now fully paved and open to traffic. So we'll probably be bringing one more change order to the commission for approval and final acceptance, so.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Well, it looks really, really nice, and I was able just to take my maiden voyage here just the other day, so it's kind of fun.
They do have some permanent fence that has to go in yet. You'll notice there's orange construction fence up right now. They're waiting for some permanent fence to come in that they'll install hopefully this week, so.
Sounds good, thank you. Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Seeing no mics, come on, anyone from the public? Seeing no movement, roll call.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hunoff.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, next, item number 6. And it looks like, so I have it written in pen, change order number 3. Does everybody have that on their agenda? Yes. Okay, just making sure. So the 8th Street Railroad Water Main Crossing Improvements, change order number 3, final project acceptance and final payment. So consideration of memorandum number 26-132, recommending the City Commission accept the completed water main boring project on 8th Street, approve change order number 3, and authorize the finance officer to issue a manual check to Fimer Construction in the amount of $113,213.85. Adam, would you like a little explanation on that too, please?
Yeah, this, as you're aware, this project was a long time in the works and is finally complete. We have operating water mains flowing under the railroad tracks along 8th Street at Cedar, Walnut, and Douglas. Project is complete. This change order just brings everything to current field measured quantities and looking to close it out and accept the project. So.
It's nice to get it done. Thank you. Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any commission discussion? Seeing no mics, come on. Anyone from the public? Seeing no movement, roll call.
Hunoff.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Next, we have the Chain Gurney Municipal Airport Utility Project Bid Award. This is consideration of memorandum number 26-133, recommending the City Commission award the LaCroix Construction Excavating, Inc. bid of $180,934 for the Chain Gurney Airport Douglas Ave Utility Expansion Project. And Adam, would you give us a little bit on that too, please?
Yeah, so this project, if you're aware of the new area north, on the north side of the airport, off of Douglas, a new hangar row that we constructed 2 years ago. This project will bring water and sewer into that location, not only for that, what the infrastructure that we built there currently, but also for future expansion projects. So this will bring water and sewer into the north side of the airport for any future expansion as well. It did come in slightly over what we have budgeted, but in conversation with the environmental services director, felt that was okay and that we should proceed forward with the projects.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Commission, do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further commission discussion? Seeing no mics come on, anyone from the public? Seeing no movement, roll call, please.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Next, item number 8, we have the 11th Amendment to the Joint Powers Agreement. This is consideration of memorandum number 26-134, recommending the City Commission approve the 11th Amendment to the Joint Powers Agreement. Commission, do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Adam or Amy, would you give us a little background on this, please?
Sure. So this is a amendment to our joint powers agreement. So all 4 parties that are partners in this agreement, so Yankton County, City of Yankton, City of Vermillion, and Clay County must agree before they can move forward. This is a agreement to take out a loan. The City of Vermillion has budgeted for the partial closure of landfill cells 3 to 5 and the construction of landfill cell number 7. At the March DANR meeting, the board approved a $2,132,000 Clean Water State Revolving Loan Fund and a $568,000 Solid Waste Management Grant for that project. The loan term is 3.5% for 10 years. So if approved tonight, the last step will be approaching Yankton County, and I've visited with Patty, and I'm on the schedule to bring this to the Yankton County Commissioners on June 17th. So Clay County and City of Vermillion have already approved moving forward with this amendment.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Okay, and then Commission, do I have a motion then?
Move to approve. Second.
Do we already have a motion? Oh, sorry about that, guys. So we already have a motion and a second, so we've done that. We've got the explanation. Anyone, Commissioners, do you have any explanation or any more questions? Seeing no mics calling, anyone from the public? Okay, seeing no movement, roll call, please.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Number 9, we have the National Field Archery Association funding request. This is consideration of memorandum number 26-135, recommending the City Commission approve funding not to exceed $40,000 from a combination of Triple B and/or bid district number 1 revenue to support the National Field Archery Association tournament events in 2026. Commission, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, and next we'll get some explanation from someone.
That memo is from me, Mayor, if you
Okay.
would like. As you all know, Yankton is home to the National Field Archery Association, and NFAA is very unique to Yankton and falls within what Triple B is really there for, to promote our community, to bring in business to bring in hotel stays, and no one does that in a bigger way than Bruce Cole and his staff, as we know. And he has a proven record of that. And this year, I'm sure he'll speak to this, but he has multi tournaments for spread out throughout the summer and then into the fall, bringing archers not only from across the country, but across a number of countries to come back to Yankton. And once they come, I know from experiencing the tournaments, once they come once, they keep coming back again and again. I think this is something that Yankton should continue to capitalize because it's something unique that no one else has. And so to me, this is precisely what Yankton should be focusing on and promoting and supporting. That said, this request was a request between the bid board and the Triple B, and the bid board met this morning. So for those of you who did not see your email, the bid board did recommend to fund $40,000. And so the initial request here and what you're reading in your packet was to make up that difference as an up to $40,000. So up to you as a commission regarding how much, if any, you want to fund. The request is funded with the recommendation of the bid board. However, for those of you that saw my email this morning, I would request that you, or recommend that you would fund something in addition to what the bid board is recommending, because we are partners with NFAA. We have been involved in tournaments. We are sponsors and hosts of the tournament. And so certainly these tournaments are cost a lot of money to put on and bring a lot to our community, not just in terms of sales tax, but also in terms of making our community known. So you may want to have that discussion, and I know you've made a motion, but I think staff would want clarity on that motion regarding what that amount precisely would be. So, and you may want to visit with Mr. Cole. I'm sure he has a lot to say.
We will do that real quick. I do see Mr. Bruce, would you mind coming to the mic? Just kind of give us an overview. Also, now that we do have a motion, and I guess I didn't realize that was funded already. But could you tell us, I guess, what else you're looking for?
Yep. First of all, Mayor Villanueva, Amy, can we still call you Amy? City Manager Leon, and Commissioners, thank you for allowing me to be here. And I'll just give you the update. I recognize faces, so I don't want to take a long time because I think some of it will be redundant. But I think this is a real prime one to talk about. And you've all seen I think the information that we sent out and gathered. And, you know, one of the big things that hits home, I think it did this morning at the bid board meeting, this event's going to have 10,000 sleeping room nights. But those are major events. And I think that's where some of the bid response came from. And of course, as the city manager said, I'm not going to turn down money. We've never made money on one of these. We have a safety net, unfortunately, that the Easton Foundation, which is a nonprofit foundation that's basically our lifeblood, is always there to help us. But they're always looking at what the community, what the state, what everybody does. And it's been, you know, a real shot in the arm. Several of you have been involved and know that Greg Easton, that's our main source, and he knows what the community does, knows what the state does. He's politically involved on the state level, and everything we do as a community makes a big difference. So basically, the couple things I want to mention, numbers. That's what this is all about this year. I mean, this is the biggest ever. I think most of you would remember the 21 pandemic event. I think it was a savior for a lot of people. For archery it was, but that was our biggest up until this point. One of the things that happened this year, it was the perfect storm in a positive manner. We had events coming up, and the one thing we do, even as a staff and as a city and as a state, we sometimes take everything that we do as for granted. When we started putting this together, didn't even realize how many events we had and how many people it brought in. Just this weekend was a minor event, and there were over 300 people here. Ironically, that particular event, to give you an idea how this works, that was the United States qualifier for this world tournament coming up. And really the big one I want to talk about is the world, but as an example, 36 people were qualified from the United States. for that event. And there's teams all over the world that are qualifying. The one thing, and Brittany, who's our director of operations, what's the percentage of rooms right now that are blocked? Aren't we like half? Right. Oh, we're full. Okay, see, there's an example of what we run into. And for those of you that, I think as I look in here, everybody's volunteered at some point. I see a driver over there that's driven more miles than I care to drive in my life. But between the motels we've had to go outside the community for, we try to get these on shoulder season. As you all remember, our very first one was in June, and we overtook everything, and we displaced people. Having these on the shoulder season, like the September and October one, is where the big ones are, and that's where I think our emphasis is going to be on this again. I mean, we conservatively, and by the way, we've never estimated our room nights or our budget to ever be low. I mean, we always have to go somewhere else, whether it be a dorm that we have opened up or to Vermilion or North Sioux City or wherever it may be. So that's really what it is in a nutshell. I mean, we've got, I think, we're estimating 40-some countries for the big one. The final event, which is the real community, I think, event, we had a lot of politics to work with in archery this year because everything's outside. And those of you that were at the 22 event, it was pretty neat. We got to shoot. We're shooting out the lake. Game Fish and Parks is a big sponsor of this. We're shooting at our facility for the finals. They wanted to have a final every day of the event, which would mean we'd want the community to come out every day. And that just wouldn't work. Brittany finally got them straightened out. It's going to be live TV coverage, and we're going to have basically two, correct? Yeah, so we'll have one for the field and one for the 3D. That's paper targets versus rubber animal targets. And they'll all be on Archery Plus. They'll be live streamed. They're complete Olympic, whatever they're called. The whole media team will be here and their communications people, and it's going to be really cool. And that's something that we really like to get involved. I mean, you've all seen that over the past. We've had everything from Chief the Buffalo here to the fire department leading out all the countries in their dress uniforms to, everybody involved. And it's cool. You got all these people here. It's a great thing for the city, for the community, for the state. So I'm not going to ask you for a dollar amount. I spoke with the city manager a little bit and the Parks and Rec director and a couple others. There's some things we need in kind that are going to be a huge help. But I can tell you right now that any dollar amount that you could see clear in giving, we'll definitely utilize it. Whether transportation costs are our biggest, and then it just gets compounded from there. So I can answer any questions if anybody's got any.
Sure, Mr. Cole. I just want to say, too, thank you for everything that you're doing out there at the Archery Center, the Eastern Archery Center. What a neat thing to have right here in our hometown, and it's really cool to see, especially on a world stage, see Yankton being represented, and just really, really appreciate it. Also, I own my stuff, so I want to apologize to you for not being there for the grand launch last week. I was supposed to be there, and I wasn't there for you. I know Commissioner Mosier stood in, and I thank her for that. But I just want to apologize to you for not being able to be there. But I promise you, I was there in spirit, and so thank you for
no problem. Believe me, we're going to want you when the other dignitaries are here later. So save it up. We'll have you many times.
Right? Sounds good. Okay, Commissioners, do you have anything else for Mr. Cole? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I just do want to remind the commission that we have been deficit spending in the BBB, and I know that sounds like talking out of two sides of my mouth. I am still recommending, my personal recommendation is that you do give a contribution to National Field Archery Association, but I do want to remind you that you are deficit spending in the BBB, and this is not budgeted, and we just need to be cognizant of that. You do have a balance in the BBB, but we should be aware of that, and we should think about that as we're considering outside agency expenditures.
Okay. Knowing that we have a motion and a second, would anyone like to amend their motion or leave it as is?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
City Manager Leon, could you explain the BBB and the BID differentiation, please?
Sure, and I can have Lisa help me out here. So BBB is, we call it bed, board, and booze, and that's kind of a, I don't know, not exactly it's not what it's called in state statute, but really, it's an extra penny tax on packaged liquor, things like packaged food, when you stay over night in a hotel, an event, so you pay an extra penny. If you go to a restaurant, and you'll see that if you look on a receipt, not things like groceries, and not that type of food, but if you were to buy Hy-Vee Chinese, or if you were to go through a fast food restaurant. So that type of thing. There is a statute, which is actually, we're going to talk about a little bit when we talk about outside agency funding, that kind of puts some parameters on what cities should spend that triple B fund on. And that lines out to be things like land acquisition, architectural fees, construction costs, payments for things like civic centers, auditoriums, athletic facilities, including maintenance, staffing, operations of facilities, and the promotion and advertising of the city. So it's wraps pretty big arms around the description. We, as a city, also have then an ordinance that narrows it down a little bit further, and we say the same thing sort of over again, and we say city facilities, advertising the city, attraction, activities, including economic development. So that's partly why we contribute to things out of the Triple B, like Yankton Thrive and the tourism end of Thrive, as well as some of the other things that over the years Triple B has been used to help fund, like Riverboat Days, for example. So promotion is kind of a wide explanation of that. But as long as it falls within those parameters, you're okay as a commission to spend that way. Now, we do try to put together a 5-year budget, which we talk about, and we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk more seriously about 2027, of course, tonight. And we have been deficit spending. Some commissions have a philosophy to build a bit more of a balance in case there is something in the economic development realm that they would like to do or put together or build, for example, in the future, and other commissions have a different philosophy. So I just bring that forward. Also, some years are better than others, and once we commit to giving, to committing funds to someone or to an entity like NFA, it's not good form and not right to go back on that. So we want to make sure that we have I feel that we have a good level of budget or level of balance so that we can do that if our revenue does not come in as we expect. The bid board is formed by the hoteliers, and what that does is they can add up to a $2 fee per night per stay. So we all don't stay in the hotels, I don't think, in town, but if you don't like your relatives or they don't like you, they might come to town and stay, and they're going to pay an extra $2 to stay in that hotel, and that goes into the bid fund. And the bid board is comprised of representatives from that hotel, from the hoteliers, as well as other community members, and we have a commissioner liaison, that's Commissioner Mosier, and they make determinations on what to spend. And they have actual, the bylaws regarding what types of things they could spend it on. I don't have those in front of me, but one thing they helped to fund, for example, was the Mount Marty Fieldhouse. And they can actually go into debt as well, but they can also disband. So we're sort of we don't control that money, but we hold that money. So it's something that the hoteliers can vote to not be associated with that anymore either, and not charge that. But typically, a portion of that money goes to a small portion goes to promoting tourism. They have a small tourism grant, and then they also have requests that come to them. They had a balance this morning, and I believe that balance is now quite small. So I'm not sure there'll be much of a balance now after this is recommended to you. So what will happen is at a future meeting, Brad Bees will come to you and recommend that expenditure from the bid board. It's really kind of like the E911 fund and the county. It's the money to use for dispatch is requested by the city from the county. The only thing you can really spend it on is dispatch. The bid board has already decided what to spend the money on. Really, we can't really say what else to spend it on. So they'll come for that recommendation. So that's kind of the difference. So they're both promotional funds. In this case, NFAA fits into both. And I think that, you have in your packet some of the past NFAA contributions. They have been from both Triple B, and I believe that the bid board did assist a construction project with NFAA, if I'm not wrong, in the past as well, when they did the addition to be able to do bigger tournaments here in Yankton. So that's how I would explain it.
No, I was going to say, I'm just willing to amend the motion. I would like to provide something if we can kind of have some discussion on what we feel is appropriate. These are the types of items that fund this directly. And so I think I think it's really important that the city fund at some level. Yet at the same time, I realize we might be in a deficit. But I think it's important for us to fund at some level when we know there's a direct kickback to the Triple B.
Do you have a number to start us off with?
That's exactly where I was at. So,
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
I was going to have to throw something out. 10,000 is where I was going to go. But at the same time, I'm willing to have further discussion.
Okay, so you said 10,000 is what you're thinking?
Do you guys want me to go?
Okay, well, let's talk about that, Commission.
Can we have the conversation of in-kind and what those numbers might look like, just for the sake of information's sake?
Sure, and I don't know if Todd will need to help or not, but we'll ask NFAA to fill out the same special events application that we do any special event. Things that I understand they'll be looking for are things like picnic tables and garbage cans and things like that. Doesn't sound like they'll need that help this summer, and that's probably a good thing for us because I don't think we'll be able to provide it this summer. We're pretty full this summer, but for the fall tournament, our special events kind of dwindled down in the fall. So for the fall tournament, we should be able to provide that. And that's basically our man hours and the wear and tear on the equipment, but the wear and tear on the equipment isn't much. There's a small special events fee, and I don't remember the exact fee, but it's a few $100s, I believe, if notified early, and we'll get in touch with Brittany to make sure that gets early enough. So, that's work we're not doing other places, and depending upon who the guys are that move the tables and the trash cans, et cetera, I would have to calculate the math of their wages. But we also are using the Unicor program through the federal prison camp. So if we're using some of those folks, it might be a bit less. But, that would be a nominal cost, but we're happy to do that as long as those resources aren't committed somewhere else. And I don't think in the fall that they would be. So I don't have a direct answer for that without knowing who would all be working on that and what resources we would need, but those are the types of costs that I imagine would be associated with that, and then picking those things back up.
Commissioner, go ahead.
Well, I think 10,000 is a fair number, especially with the in-kind that we're going to give. They're probably going to have expenses that pop up. I think it's a fair number.
I'd also ask Mr. Colligan, if you don't mind coming back up. When you mentioned in kind, please tell us, here's your chance, tell us what all do you think you need, or if your team needs to come up to help you. I just want to make sure we're not missing anything, or as things pop up, we're willing to help you with in-kind things.
I think Amy said it exactly. Okay. And like I said, since we had the bid this morning, I went over it, and it's mainly the recreational stuff that we don't have a lot of, which is picnic tables. There's some given things that we don't take for granted. We know that happen, like we need sometimes some law enforcement for traffic control, different things. A lot of that happens out at the lake, so we get state people involved too. But no, I don't think there's any huge dollar amount. And I can tell you that the amount that you're talking about, nobody on our end would be mad. I can tell you that right now. Bridget, don't. They put you on the spot. I love that. But no, I mean, seriously, like I said, we want to think about this positively. We've got a lot of big things going, and I'd like to think that sometime before I die, we'll have a tournament that makes money, but there's a couple people in here that can testify that that never happens, right, Nancy? And anything you give is fine, and we would not be upset with that at all, and we would literally look at that like a $50,000 donation from the city. I mean, I realize that the bid, they're separate. I understand those very, very well, but I think that's the way we would treat that when we talk about it as our big sponsors. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so you are willing to amend your motion, Bridget?
I amend my motion to $10,000 donation.
Okay, then who seconded your motion?
Specifically from BBB.
Yes.
Yep.
You want me to say it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Specifically from the triple B.
Oh, your mic was off. Now you're good.
Specifically from
Still off.
Ah!
There you go.
Specifically from the triple B.
Okay. Now, who seconded her first motion? I think it was. Who seconded her?
I had Commissioner Spencer down.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Making sure you're good with that. Okay. So now we have to, we're going to have to vote on the amended motion then first. Okay. So any discussion on the amended motion? Seeing no mics come on. Anyone from the public? Okay. Amy, did you have something you wanted to say while you're over there?
No, I'm just
Okay, just
getting ready.
All right.
Just Girl Scouting.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so again, anyone from the public? Okay, then we'll roll call on the amended motion.
Birch,
Aye.
Brunick,
Aye.
Conkling,
Aye.
Hunoff,
Aye.
Spencer,
Aye.
Benson,
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes.
So now we're going to vote the regular motion. It's a 50,000 donation from bid and from BBB.
We have to, well, no, that's on her original motion.
No, it's the amended motion, which is essentially a $50,000 donation.
Okay.
40 from bid, 10 from BBB.
Okay. So we're gonna
Yes.
do this original we're gonna ask for a motion, okay?
Unless I misunderstood, that was the vote to amend the motion to add 10 from the BBB. So now you guys will
Correct.
be voting on the amended motion, which is a $50,000 donation, 40 from bid and 10 from the triple
No,
B
Ross,
fund.
you're incorrect. It
Thank
would
you.
be a $10,000 contribution because the bid board will have to come back with a resolution at a future time.
Yes, thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'll take Ross's salary for the season.
Yeah, I forget because they have to bring their action this morning before
But
you
they do
take
have to
separate
vote on
action
the
it.
amended
Yeah.
motion, the $10,000 contribution.
Yeah, correct. It's pulled apart from the original 40. Amy's correct.
Just about gave
Sorry about
Lisa a heart attack.
that. I did, yeah, sorry about that.
Right, okay, so what I understood was that we voted on the amended motion. I thought we had to go back to the original motion then, which would
Which
have
is
been.
a $10,000 donation, because you guys will be dealing with the bids donation later. Yes.
The original motion was for $40,000. The full 40. Then we amended it to the 10.
That is correct.
So we don't need to vote on the original motion.
They have to vote on the amended motion, Ross.
Which we did that.
You voted to amend
You
the
voted on-
motion.
To amend the motion.
Now you're going to pass that amended motion.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense.
I just did a poor job
Thank you.
of
No, no, no.
describing what you're
So-
doing because
so
I
yes,
forgot.
that's
yeah.
correct. So what we did was we amended, we passed the amended, we amended the motion. The motion is now passed the vote for amendment, and now we're going to now vote on the amended motion.
Yes, and you all have my
Correct.
permission to crucify whoever wrote Robert's rules.
So want to make
yes,
sure.
that is
want to make
correct.
sure we're doing it right.
Yes.
So the amendment passed for the motion. And so then now the motion before you then is going to be to have $10,000 come from the triple B to fund the archery request.
Okay, do we need a motion and a second to do that? or is it-
No.
No.
Nope.
You can proceed directly with the vote unless you
Correct.
have further discussion.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on that? Yes.
Yeah, I do have further discussion or maybe confusion. So are we spending 50,000? Are we spending 40,000 or 10? I'm not
So
understanding.
you're
the
spending
math.
10,000 out of the triple B. And next meeting, Brad Beast will come back to you with a resolution from the bid board to recommend funding of 40,000 to come out of the bid fund.
Which is not our fund.
It's not your fund,
Right.
we're just
hold
holding
the
it.
I
money.
understand from the bid meeting, they didn't have much of a balance. I don't know what that meant.
Correct,
We
well,
didn't have any
they have
numbers.
enough money for that.
Okay, thank you. Without numbers, we don't really
Yeah.
know what we're
Yes.
talking about, so.
Yeah, and I
thank
was
you.
skipping the step of requiring the resolution first, because they had their meeting earlier, but we don't have that resolution before us yet. So that's the issue, and I apologize for the confusion.
But that is a very good and fair question. Okay. So again, we're going to be voting now on the $10,000 to come from the triple B. That's what this motion is right now. We're going to be voting on. So any more further commission discussion on that? Questions? Anyone from the public? Okay, seeing no movement, roll call, please.
Brunick.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you all. Sorry for the confusion. Just want to make sure that we are doing this process correctly. We don't want to be called out for doing it wrong. Okay, so next, Amy is all teed up, prepped. I can tell she's ready to go over there, excited. The 2027 Outside Agency and Capital Improvement Plan Budget discussion.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the commission and public. Typically, this is its own meeting, so I anticipate a little bit longer of discussion this evening. Appreciate you accommodating staff scheduling to tag this on to your meeting. Want to talk about two things this evening, outside agency funding, and I'll do that first in case the public doesn't want to stick around for the entire capital budget discussion. And then we'll roll into capital budget. So what we're talking about tonight is the entities that we support, and then our capital budget is the things that we are purchasing, large purchases, equipment, and then projects and large sort of initiatives, I will say. So I've got this organized in my head. I'm not intending to go department through department or line by line, but sort of talk about things in larger categories when we get to the part of the capital. So hopefully it stays organized when it comes out of my mouth as it comes as it is in my mind. Couple things before we start talking about any of the 2027 budget is that I want to say that if you've been following along with sales tax, it really seems like it's been volatile this year. And that's a little bit confusing to me. And if it's not volatile, at least the reporting has been. And it hasn't been a very good predictor to me of what's really happening locally. That used to sort of be the indicator where I would have conversations with the P&D about what does the sales tax mean to you, and we would talk about that. It's not been a very good forecast. And we, as a city, have not been through a full year of the sales tax rebate that was approved by the Commission for the Yankton Mall. And we don't know exactly what to expect from that fully. Also, I don't know if the first year will be larger of a sales tax rebate than coming years, because it is something new, and on the other hand, we don't have all the stores up and going yet. So that's going to kind of be a little bit of a unknown for a while. So sales tax is just something where we're going to have to feel our way a little bit through the dark and be careful. And if we say, our sales tax is 3% growth, not really, because we're going to be giving some of that back. How much? Not exactly sure. We'll keep reporting that out to you as we have the numbers, but we won't have a full picture for a while. As you know, the Menard sales tax was complete, but that was not a little bit nominal compared to our other sales tax rebate, and we have some other smaller ones as well. Inflation costs are really changing our picture of what we do and how we do things. So we'll talk about that more when we get to the capital, but things that we were purchasing just 5 years ago have gone up substantially. We'll talk about that with one of your handouts when we get to the capital. So that's changed, and yes, we've gone up in revenue, but our revenue has not increased at the same speed as the costs have, so that's an issue. We also are dealing with tariffs, and if somebody understands tariffs and how they work, please come and see me. I don't quite understand. We have tariffs on everything from fire equipment to our icy machine at the pool. And I don't understand why, and they don't tell us what has a tariff and what doesn't. And in some instances, you know, it's a $6 tariff, and in some instances, it's, you know, almost the full cost of the hand water pump that we're purchasing for the equipment for the fire department. So at that point, when the tariff is almost as much as the piece of equipment, it's kind of hard to budget for. So I don't know if somebody in the business department of Mount Marty can help me with understanding tariffs, and I kind of thought that went away, but it didn't. So I don't know. Donald Trump was texting me all through election season, and now he's stopped. So I don't know. I have to figure that out. Also, you have to decide on what your philosophy is. You know, what's government's role to spend on, and what's government's role not to spend on. That's really more for the outside agency, and for what are your priorities. You know, you're always going to see in my budget a big focus on infrastructure and public safety. That's what I'm going to always lean towards, and also some amenities as well. But always my budgets are going to focus on infrastructure, public safety, and then quality of life third. And I think that's important. The two things that I'm leaning into are the most expensive things we're doing too. So that presents an issue when we don't really know how we're going to grow revenue-wise. Also, as I've stated before, in some instances, like in the BBB, we're deficit spending, and we've been deficit spending for a number of years. Tonight, I'd like to hear more about if you want to spend that balance to zero and force cuts. What I've recommended is some cuts this year, and no one likes to hear that word, but I think it's important to build back a little bit of a balance. That's what I would do if this were my decision, but it's not. It's your decision. The philosophy that I'm presenting to you tonight on the BBB, anyway, reflects a little bit of stepping back into having a little bit of a balance. So if something does come up, or somebody has an idea for something that falls within that arms of what you can spend or do with BBB, you can do that. So before we talk about the BBB, I want to just mention to you, and this is in your packet, the organizations that we fund, that are outside organizations that we fund either through the general fund or other ways. Some of you know we fund Lewis and Clark Behavioral Health at $20,000. We can use the opioid fund for that, and so I'm recommending that we fund that fully again. That's nice that we can transfer the opioid funds for that, and we have plenty of funding to do that. The Small Business Development Center, that is with District 3 in the District 3 building, they're requesting $4,500, and I'm recommending full funding there. Yankton Transit requested $55,000. I'm requesting the same as what we budgeted last year, which is $45,000. And I certainly understand their costs have gone up as well. So I understand their request and their need, as I do with all the things that we're funding. Also keeping in mind our needs and our costs for the things that we're doing. Special projects is $100,000. I believe this is partial funding of the sales tax rebate. So that has to come from somewhere. So part of it's budgeted in the BBB, part of it's budgeted in the 506, part of it's budgeted in the general fund. We've split it up, but it has to come out of somewhere. So that isn't just money where that, you know, extra money. We have to have accounted, it has to be accounted for somewhere. Collective impact, that's United Way. We had a nice discussion with Jesse last meeting, and they cover a number of agencies that we used to individually contribute to. They have requested $46,000, and I'm recommending what we provided last year, and that's $45,000. Planning District 3 always asks for a small increase. That's an annual percentage increase. They're asking for $15,788 this year, and that's what I've recommended to increase them to. Anyone who's worked with District 3 knows that's the best deal in town. They do an enormous amount of work for us, and it's a great price for all the things we can work through with them. So, if people are interested, we'll move on to the BBB. That's the big 11 by 17, and I'll talk to you a little bit about some of the cuts we've made. And I'm certainly not married to any of these numbers. I'm just trying to follow what I think is a way to build a little bit of balance back and still be able to contribute to things that are important for our community. So professional services, we didn't budget anything there. Economic development incentive or sales tax reimbursement, same as what I talked about with special projects in the other fund. So these are the entities. There you have a rebate, so we're taking some of that out of the BBB. Historic facade program, typically we fund that at $30,000 a year. I cut that for 2027, and I know Clutch Our Pearls, we love that program. I do too. It was my idea, and I do love that program. I think it's a lot of bang for the buck. So my thought was maybe if we do that every other year, it's a way we could build back our balance. But again, this is your budget, and you can change anything that's in here. Yankton Thrive, I've discussed with Yankton Thrive that, things are uncertain right now and unknown, and we need to do things a little differently. So I've recommended a $30,000 cut to Yankton Thrive. So instead of $460,000, which was typically what was budgeted, I've recommended $430,000 for their budget, and the board knows that. Nancy has alerted her board and made us aware that they operate that way. There will be some changes in the things that they're able to do based on that cut. But that's, one of the largest things that we do, or the largest things that we contribute to in the BBB. So have recommended that cut. Missouri River sedimentation, same, $2,500. Fireworks is our program, $27,000. Onward Yankton Dakota Theater, the larger number was a capital request to help them do a project, so I brought that request back down to funding the actual productions, which is similar to the amounts we've given in the past. Kramer Kenyon, the Heritage Home, has requested an increase, and I again have put in the similar amount, $2,500, as to what we recommended last year. Our website is being redesigned, and so there's an additional amount budgeted, $10,000 from that amount. As you know, we need to do quite a bit of work in terms of refreshing our website, so we've got a team working on that, as well as a lot of ADA compliance. Riverboat Days, we've recently been funding. They've requested $20,000, and what I put in the budget recommendation is 10. And I'll just pause there for a second. None of these folks are asking for anything that's out of line or unreasonable. In looking at band costs and what things cost to have bands for Music at the Meridian, even a sort of small regional band, $20,000 might get you that. An sort of unknown, maybe known in the region band. $20,000 probably won't get you a band that was once popular one time a long time ago. So this is not an unreasonable ask from Riverboat Days. I don't want anyone to think that, or I don't want Riverboat Days to think that. What I want people to think is that, we need to be conscientious of what we're spending. So all of these things are good things too. Just thinking about how we want to spend the money. Special events coordinator activities. This is our Music at the Meridian. The last couple of years we've been spending $100,000. I hope that I had been clear about the fact that we had some special years. We had some, I don't know, like, we had the bridge party, the bridge birthday, and we had the 250th, and I hope that I said these are special years and we're going to do some special things, and then we're going to go back to our regular scheduled program. If I didn't make it clear, I think I need to make it clear now. I don't think we can continue to spend $100,000 a year, or I don't think you should continue to spend $100,000 a year. I talked to Luke and Todd about that, and that means pulling back a little bit, maybe getting some more local or Yankton musicians, and that's, they can make that work. If any department can do things like that, it's our parks department. So it doesn't have to be that way, but I think we wanted to do something bigger to celebrate this year and make sure we were honoring the bridge that year. And now I think we should go back to a little bit more manageable spending. Baseball requested an increase, and I did not put in an increase, so I kept baseball, summer band, Yankton area arts, all of those at $3,600. And so really, to say that I'm keeping them at the same level, I'm really giving them a cut, because their inflation has gone up and their expenses are going up, and I'm not recommending an increase. So you can call, I can say I'm recommending what was given last year, but that is really a cut when you look at the expense of things. Special projects, I put in for $10,000. We usually have something come up, or you get a request that comes up that is presented to you that we just don't know about. For example, I think of the hockey folks that came and asked for help with the ice skating tarp, or somebody comes and asks for something that you might want to do. This way we have something in the budget we can appropriate if something comes up. Special events overtime, we have a lot of overtime associated with our special events, and we don't have room for that in our department budgets. So we have been budgeting, since we started doing so many special events, overtime out of the Triple B. We have a transfer to outside agencies. That's to help pay for some of the outside agencies that are listed in the general fund of $15,000. Facility promotion I cut. It initially was $25,000, has been $25,000. That's what we promote our facilities with. So SAC, Youth or Family Aquatic Center, Changani Airport to some extent. We want to start trying to promote more. That doesn't go very far when it comes to promoting a facility, certainly, but that's what we've been budgeting, but I did cut that $5,000. Transfer to Parks Capital, that's for things like banners and flags. We do have a good inventory right now of banners and flags, so this would just be some like replacement things and perhaps Christmas decorations, but we do have a good start there for the time being. The transfer to TID debt service, the property tax for the Menards TID we're not able to pay off the bond with the property tax that is coming in. So we do have to budget for to make that whole. So we're doing that, and the remainder of that we've been paying towards the Mead TID. And we know that will never, the property tax there will be a long time coming before that's made whole. But so we do have to pay that. And that changed, I can't remember the year, but the year that the school formula changed. And that was a state change. So we do have to make sure we're making that debt service whole. So that's the Triple B recommendation as I see it. And I expect you're going to have some comments and you're going to want to make some changes. And if you have questions for me or want to understand my logic in some way, I'm happy to answer questions.
Commissioners, do we have any questions for the city manager? Any comments, changes?
I'll go ahead and make a couple comments anyway. First of all, Amy, thanks for going through it and explaining it. One of the programs that you are recommending not funding, which was with the downtown facade program, I would like to see us continue that with at least a $15,000, one recipient. As long as you've got the program started to put the brakes on it completely, and then maybe another year down the road to start it up again. You've got some knowledge of what's going on in the community, of how to make that work, and when the application dates are and so forth. So I would like us to explore that. And then my other comment was the Lewis and Clark Theater. There've been some capital money that was spent the last 2 years, and I think they requested $27.5 this year, and not much there. And I'm just wondering, is it they still looking for capital, or what are they planning to do there?
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of communication with them. I think they are continuing down the road of continuing to do capital improvements. I don't know where their board is in terms of their project. So I can't answer that precisely. I don't know that. I haven't heard that this is something that we're continuing to fund capital-wise, but if the commission wants to, that's your prerogative.
Thank you.
Commissioners, yes, I got a couple, well, three. Ben, we'll start with you.
Okay. The economic development incentive at $134,000. It's a sales tax reimbursement. In the past, I know last year we did a Triple B. Have we done the sales tax reimbursement out of Triple B in the past? I know that now we have the mall at 100%. But when we were doing the 50% on Slumberland, on Menards, on all the other locations.
I guess I have to probably ask Dwayne that. I don't know that we had anything that applied to Triple B before we had the mall, because, I see the curtain is coming down. Hold, please.
Yeah, I know that we did it last year, but the previous years, we did not ever do anything out of the triple B. I had questions about this last year, but we did not do any sales tax rebate monies in previous years.
Our
correct?
rebates were quite a bit smaller before we added the Yankton Mall.
I totally agree. And that's my question. I just don't know if we should be pulling 134,000 out of the triple B when it is the first and second penny that is the sales tax rebate. I understand it's economic development. I completely understand that. I worry that we put 134,000 into this, and now all of a sudden outside agencies are running a deficit. Where if we did not have the $134,000 in that, where would we be at as far as our outside agency balance at that point?
Well, you know, I can't really say, again, of course, because I don't know where the revenue is going to come in.
How about what deficit? We're saying that we're running a deficit. What deficit are we running with this budget as proposed?
So,
with the outside agency budget
yeah,
as proposed?
just to give you an idea of the balances, in 2022, our balance at year end of the triple B was $623,288. Excuse me, that's 2022. Yep. In 2023, our balance was $602,771. In 2024, our balance was $523,681. In 2025, our balance was $488,885. So, you know, we're spending into our balance, which is okay.
But we included $100,000 into the sales tax rebate in 2025.
Correct.
Which we had not done before, correct?
I can confirm, Commissioner Brunick, that prior, we've paid primarily out of the 506 or the 101 general funds. I don't see anything in the last 5 years that we've paid out of the triple B fund,
Yeah.
except for last year.
I mean, it's, you can take it out of the 506 or the general fund. I don't know, I wouldn't recommend you take it out of the general fund because we're having a hard time knowing how we're going to balance the general fund as is. And the 506 would be, you know, our infrastructure projects and things of that nature. But you can do it how you can do that. We thought if we sort of balanced it between a number of budgets, not knowing what the number is going to be, would be helpful instead of one budget taking a big hit. But that can be however you'd like to do it as a commission.
And I definitely understand that. It's a matter of trying to figure out the balance between those. Because right now we've got $100,000 coming out of our general fund, right? For the special
Correct.
for the special business development. And we've got $134,000 coming out of the triple B, which the triple B, I understand it's economic development, but I also know that, you know, when we did the sales tax rebate at the mall, it was the first and second penny. It was not that we're doing a triple B sales tax rebate. I understand there has to be a balance, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm concerned about taking $134,000 out of the triple B, but only taking $100,000 out of the general fund. I think when we approved the sales tax rebate for the mall, I think everybody understood what we were doing. We're doing a rebate, 100% rebate, which is first and second penny. So I'm a little concerned with the triple B being used, especially if the triple B is being used to fund even more than like what we're doing in the general fund.
And we were comfortable making that recommendation because we understood that the commission viewed it as an economic development project. But if that's not where you want to take it from, that's.
I think it could be viewed, I think it absolutely is viewed as an economic development. I think the questions that I have, or the things that I'm debating, is the total amount. I'm not saying that we don't fund anything out of the triple B. It's, do we fund more out of the triple B than we do out of the general fund? I don't think that that's necessarily appropriate, especially when all of a sudden we're showing a deficit and we're looking at cutting programs out of the out of the triple B.
So if I could add something, one of the reasons that we looked at doing this is because of some of the uncertainty in the total amount. So when we proposed this, we proposed up to 100,000 out of the general fund, and I think we'll probably be close, but there's no guarantee on that. And when you have such a small margin of error like we do in the general fund, there really isn't a lot of room short of cutting something. I mean, and when you get going into the year and you start purchasing equipment and looking at fuel costs, we're looking at somewhere between $200,000 and $500,000 in increased fuel costs across all of the budgets. And so without having more certainty about what that sales tax rebate will be, it becomes very difficult, in my opinion, to try to budget half or a quarter or a specific unknown dollar amount in a fund that has really finite growth from a revenue standpoint. So my caution would be, you can change that formula at your guys' discretion, but I think it introduces a larger degree of uncertainty in trying to do police, fire, Parks and Rec, all of those programs that are funded under general fund dollars.
Commissioner Spencer, go ahead.
So Amy, can you recap from your spreadsheet? It looks like you're projecting, and I understand it's just projections, that 2026 will end up with $440,000 in the fund. Is that how I read the spreadsheet correctly at the bottom there? Okay. And then with what the proposed cuts or proposed budget you have in here that next year, if everything comes in as you estimated, I know that's not going to happen possibly, you would maybe be at $573,000. Am I reading that correct?
That's with if the growth comes in at 3%.
Okay, and that would build back this fund a little bit. I think they should throw those numbers out there, helps us.
Yeah,
where it's going.
and those are all, estimates.
Sure.
Perhaps maybe it comes in at 5%. It's really tough, as you know, and it used to be a little bit easier. If you go back and look at the triple B just in the last 12 months of the sales tax report, it's just like a roller coaster. So I'm not as certain as I used to be about the predictions. So it's difficult to I always, I guess, err on the side of caution. And I feel like when you make the commitments to the agencies, we should really do everything we can. I don't ever want to be in a position to say, well, I know we said we were going to give you, $25,000, but now we can't afford to, so we're not. So.
Yeah, I understand. And all you can do is based off history, obviously,
Yeah.
and projections, and who knows what the future might bring. And I understand Dwayne says fuel costs, obviously, if this thing doesn't change around the world, we're going to have that expense for maybe longer than we would hope. But, I mean, I don't think your numbers are too far off. And I appreciate the concern for trying to be conservative on the estimates.
Commissioner Conklin, go ahead.
I just want to say one thing first. The last item, the TID debt service, I think and I've spoken out about TIFs before, TIDs. Menards was supposed to be one of the better uses of a TIF, and it's not paying itself off. The taxpayers are now having to pay for some of it. And I think we have 11 or 12 TIFs. So just in the future, we need to be careful because it always comes down to the taxpayer. I kind of agree with Amy that my main priorities of the city, first of all, we need to maintain infrastructure. Second, provide services and opportunities for the citizens, and if we have the extra amenities. I have a real problem. We've cut a lot of things. Yankton Thrive gets $430,000, which is, I think, more than everybody else combined. You know, we're looking at organizations that, well, with Thrive, the CEO gets $130,000. I don't think any of these other organizations, their leaders get anywhere near that. And we know from recent events that Thrive has a significant amount of money in the bank. And the people that are talking to me said they don't want their money going to that. They want it to go for things that actually benefit them that they can see. So I agree with Commissioner Birch. I don't think we should defund the facade grant. If you look at one of the projects that's done, I mean, it was a very big improvement to the community. The Lewis and Clark Theater, I hate to see cut them. I think a better way to do it would be to fully fund everybody and reduce that from Thrive so that the citizens get the best bang for their buck.
Okay, Commissioner, go ahead.
Amy, what was the amount that we allocated to Yankton Transit this year in 2026?
I have to look that up. Hang on. I think it was 45, but I need to check.
I know that's what you're proposing.
They're saying 45. They're looking at it, 45.
45. So they were requesting a $10,000 increase because I suppose the fuel costs would be a big reason.
Yes, and I know just from talking with folks involved in transit, you know, they're everything, fuel cost, equipment costs, their vehicles are getting older, you know, their expenses go up for drivers. They're in the same position as we are.
Did they ever cover their deficit from last year? I know they were struggling for funds towards the end of the year. They may be behind.
Okay, any other commissioners? Comments, ideas? Go ahead, Ben.
I'm in favor of continuing with the downtown facade grant also. I think it's a good program. I think it's proven itself to be a good program. I guess that's one of the things where I'm coming around to this. You know, we've got $137,000 that we're allocating, or 134, pardon me, the economic development incentive. So that's a sales tax rebate that we are giving to an entity. There's a couple of other entities that had the 1%, but the 2%, the 100%. I think that the downtown facade grant, what I don't want to do is I don't want to all of a sudden, we're giving something to one entity and we're not going to give it to a bunch of smaller entities because they're too small. We've got this one big one and we're going to give everything to that. I think we should be giving these to these smaller, something that's within reach of folks and something that promotes our downtown. I think it's been a good program. I'd like to see that to be funded. And, you know, a proposal that I would have would be to possibly change this economic development incentive from 134,000 and maybe swap that with the general fund and make up the difference. I know we're not making decisions tonight. I'm throwing ideas out there. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And that's an idea that I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners have anything?
I'll certainly take, I mean, this isn't the only time to give ideas either. You know, take feedback, because this is, we're still massaging the budget as we go, and I want to talk with Commissioner Mosier and Commissioner Sarda as well, and get their feedback regarding both the BBB and the capital budget as well.
Okay, any other feedback, commissioners? Okay, I'm seeing no mics come on. Amy?
If not, I'll move on to the capital budget, or would you like to take a little recess, or?
Everybody okay? Everybody keep on moving along, commissioners? Okay, we'll keep on moving on.
Okay. Before we start with capital, I know Dwayne has this he can bring up for the public to see, but Lisa handed this sheet out to you. Between IT and engineering and some other folks, they put this together. I just wanted to reference some of the cost increases in a few things to give you an idea sort of what we're faced with. And I mean, this isn't unique to us. This is any public entity, whether it's the county or the state or the city. Just in 6 short years or 5 short years, we have some comparison of the difference in costs of things. So if you look at the walking floor trailers that we purchased for solid waste, in 2020 they were $68,000 or almost $69,000. Now they're over $100,000, they're almost $110,000. When you look at the section of street, curb, and gutter in 2020, it was $360 a linear foot. Now it's gone up 25% to $450 a foot. And now not everything's gone up 25% or 59%, but you know, sewer lines, sanitary sewer lines gone up 11%. But even at 11%, I don't know that we've grown 11% in our revenue. So it really shows you the increased costs. And the people doing the work are costing more too. And, you know, we're worth it, if I do say so myself. But we got a lot of competent people that are doing all the work as well. And our revenue has not grown enough to keep up with these costs. So it's a different day, and I think we're not unique in that. I think a lot of people across the state and across the country will tell you the same thing. It's getting expensive to do these things, so just want to keep that in mind when we're talking about our capital improvement projects, and we have to be a little bit more intentional and maybe think about some things in a little different way, and recognize how important economic development is, so we can grow, because that's the only way, growing that tax base, we're going to be able to afford to continue to do these projects. So as I said, I'm not going to go leaf through page by page this document. I've kind of got these things organized in a sense between equipment and projects, street projects, bridges, buildings, and then some of the other sort of quality of life things we're talking about. And then we can go back and talk about any specifics or any questions you have. This is a 5-year plan, and we will talk a little bit about out years, but I mainly want to focus on 2027. So some themes to talk about. Really, one of the themes I want to talk about is our maintenance of our buildings. So as you go through the budget, you're going to see a lot of roof replacements and roof repairs. Some of the roof repairs will actually be in your operating because they're a bit smaller costs. But for example, out in the future, not too far out in the future, City Hall is going to need to have a new roof. Fire Station 2 is going to have a roof repair probably this year in operating. That's going to get us by until we need to do a full replacement. We have a roof replacement plan for the center. Fortunately, Kyle and his team did the wastewater plant building, so that roof repair is done. But all of those things are costly, and the public isn't going to see any benefit from that. Nobody's going to get excited or you know, appreciate that really, but they're going to have to spend we're going to have to spend their tax dollars on it. Needless to say that folks that were around last year for the budget, we're not going to probably be updating City Hall this year. Sorry, we're not going to be spending the money probably for the break room. We're going to have to get by with what we did. Also, I'd like, you know, for you all to take a look at our buildings with a new eye, all our facilities. We do a good job of keeping them clean and keeping them functional, but if you spend any time at the park shop, if you've been down to the street shop, some of our facilities, City Hall, for example, they're functional, and they're looking a bit tired. So long-term, maybe out in the 10-year plan, we need to start talking as a community about what do we need to do here with the facilities as a whole. But we do need to do some upkeep. The 1929 water plant is something that, as we move through the budget, I would like people's feedback on. That probably needs some attention on the roof. We have not found the right user yet, as you know. That will probably come along, but in the meantime, it's going to need a new roof. So the question is, do you want to invest in a roof for that building? The roof will preserve that building until we find, or until the right entity comes along, but also, if we put a new roof on a building, that's going to be a costly expense that the public isn't going to benefit from in the short term. There's questions there as to whether you want to do that or not. You won't see that in your capital budget, but that's something I'd like to talk about. When we're talking about projects, so when we're talking about actual street and street projects next year. We've got quite a bit of construction planned again, but I don't think it'll be as disruptive, I hope, as this year is going to be, and this year already has been. We've got Ferdig 8th Street to Whiting, and you do have a map, and you see that Dwayne has the map up as well, but you do have a map available to you that Kristen puts together. The W next to that is water, so if there's a W next to the street project, it indicates we're doing water with that project. Those should align in your capital plan, and if there is a W, that means we're doing sewer, wastewater with it. If there's a WWW, we're not wrestling. That means we're doing water and wastewater. So Ferdig 8th Street to Whiting Drive. Capitol Street, 2nd to 4th with water. The Moose Alley, Walnut to 3rd, from 3rd to 4th. That's a smaller project. 2nd Street, Locust to Broadway. Spruce Street, 3rd to 4th and 3rd Street. Spruce Street Park, that one has water and wastewater. We're doing a little hopscotch with Cedar Street through the next few years, and that is because of the Cedar Street Bridge. So next year, Cedar Street 8th to 10th. 13th Street, we're going to take on Burley to Penina with water. Burley 8th Street to Whiting Drive with a railroad crossing. That's water and wastewater. Another street, which is actually in the Summit Activity Center budget, will be that, it's an access road, actually. It's not a street, but I call it a street. It's that road between Kellen Gross Drive and Summit. If you drive that, you'll see it's cracking up and needs to be redone. So because of the Cedar Street Bridge, which we're going to be working on this year, we are doing Cedar Street in different sections, but I do want to talk a little bit about our bridges while we're at it. So this year, we're working on that pedestrian bridge across Highway 50 by the Chamber. We're also taking on the pedestrian bridge that's over Walnut and Cedar. So that's happening, or that will be happening. We did do the 23rd Street. We just worked on that tonight, the box culvert. It's a nice project and well needed. I asked engineering today. We have total of 9 bridges and 3 box culverts that cross Marne Creek. And so just long term, we need to think about bridges as well, because the Cedar Street Bridge is $6.9 million. And that's a two-lane short sort of bridge. I think the first grant application that Kevin Cool and I worked on for that project was just over $2 million. So, I mean, I know that was 12 or 13 years ago, but we have to have conversation about that and the affordability of that. And yes, the state is helping us out, and that's fantastic, but in some long-range planning, we're going to have some community discussion about should we be doing some box culverts where there's currently bridges? Can we do that? Are there other solutions? What's the plan? Because very quickly we'll run into the affordability issue, and I know the county's had that discussion too. You know, where does that price point hit where it's just going to be too much to keep and maintain that kind of a piece of infrastructure? So it's not all, you know, it's not all doom and gloom, but we do need to think about that. Also, when we're talking about these projects with water and wastewater, we have a lot of our sewer is still the clay pipe sewer. So we have a lot of sewer that needs to be replaced yet. And all of that takes money. So while folks don't see that, they need that, and we need to pay for that. So it's not just the plant that they're paying for and that our rates will go to, but it's also that sewer replacement. Also, we know that we're going to have to comply with the lead pipe program when it comes to water and lead pipe replacement. We talked a little bit about having a program, and I know this is probably going to lean into operating a little bit. We talked about having a program for reimbursement, and we're working on that, but that will also impact a little bit what we do with our rate discussion. Our understanding was that you all wanted to talk about rates earlier on in the budget this year than you have in the past. So staff is working on a utility rate study, and we're going to bring that forward to you in July, talk about some of these issues, talk about the amount of projects that need to be done, and come forward and visit with you about what we'll be recommending for rates and a rate resolution prior to presenting the budget to you, so that you have time to talk about that before it's brought to you at the budget discussion in August. Projects that are maybe not new to you, but will be wrapping up and continuing on to next year. Our CMAR project is ongoing. I think by 2027 we should be online. That's our wastewater project. Of course, that's been a huge infrastructure project for us, and we're seeing we'll be seeing the benefits of that, and I know everyone will be happy to have that wrapped up. Also, you'll see some things at the water plant in out years. In the 1972 plant, and you'll go, why are we doing things in that plant? We have a brand new water plant. When we designed the water plant and we updated our water plant, if things were operating well and in good condition, we didn't change them. We built around them, and we let them continue to operate until their useful life. So there are a few things we need to update in out years. It's not immediate, but Kyle and his staff are planning for those. So when you get to water, you'll see a few of those. And it's not a lot, but everything that Kyle does is expensive. So they're not a lot of things, but they're a lot of money. So that will impact us as well in the future years in the capital budget. Projects that we're talking about that are not maybe essential, but are essential for Yankton and to our hearts. You know, we're working on the Capitol building as part of our 250th centennial it's not centennial. Our 250th project, because I can't remember the word right now. We have $40,000 budgeted in 2026 and $40,000 budgeted in 2027. We have a donation from Sertoma Club. We're asking for donations. I don't know if that's going to be enough money to get done what needs to get done, because we have a lot of work that needs to happen. I think the first step, again, is probably securing the roof and the chimney. But we're going to be talking to some experts on that, and hopefully taking steps so we can get that redesigned. Lots of questions still about the library, and we're still moving forward with that project. There's $50,000 budgeted. That's a split between the foundation and the city for a consultant to take a look at and do a site analysis. So the most recent development has been that the Library Board of Trustees has asked Dana and to put together, Dana and a team of staff, to put together a request for proposals to analyze 2 sites, one, the current site, and also an additional site for the feasibility of a future project of a library. What is the second site? We don't know yet. So they've also asked her to put together a committee to come back to the Board of Trustees with some, I guess, top 2 to 3 sites that they can discuss to give to the consultant. So the consultant will have the current site and then the one preferred site to study and analyze. I don't know if $50,000 will be enough for that. We'll see how proposals come in. So we'll be working on that here this fall. So I don't know if we'll need to come back or supplement that or talk to the foundation on that regard. But we are moving ahead there slowly but surely.
I want to back up just a bit
Yep.
about a project you spoke about a minute ago. So the Kellen Gross Drive project, that's the road out here that connects 21st to 23rd? Is that right?
Yeah. It's between
the
the
one that runs along the football practice area, or is it the one right out here that we use to get into this facility?
No, the one that connects, the one that's right between the summit and the
And 21st?
and the soccer fields, tennis courts and track.
Okay.
That
Adam, you want to give? It looked like, to me, it was this stretch out here that connects 21st to 23rd.
no, it's the little access. It's not technically a street, correct?
So some people would call it 19th Street,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying now. All right, thank
Yeah.
you.
I think this street was done a couple years ago.
21st Street was done 2 years ago. And
Yeah.
then we have Kellen Gross Drive out here this summer, yes.
But I'm glad you brought up the summit because that's the next on my list. The school has a number of non-exciting but necessary projects there on their list that we're a party to because we're in that agreement with them, and of course we know they need to be done. They're high dollar items, HVAC systems, the chiller system. Also, I guess this is maybe more of an amenity. The theater seating needs to be redone in that building, so that's a little bit more of an amenity, but we're a part of that. And you see the splits there in the budget, who pays for what. Those are percentages. Also, there's been an idea brought forward from the Parks Advisory Board to consider a restroom on the second floor of the Summit Activity Center in the weight room. So we're looking into that. We have to see if we can get it in the capital budget with the school, if they're willing to pay for a portion, their portion, if they will, or if they won't, we can just do that. But we're checking into some ADA compliance and costs of what that might be if there's interest in doing that type of thing. We have a janitorial closet that's on the second floor. And so Todd is visiting with Welfel to see if that's something that might be able to be reconfigured into a restroom.
Quick question about you mentioned auditorium seating that needs to be redone.
Theater seating, like I think they just call it the high school theater.
The main auditorium, the main.
Not the gymnasium, but
No.
the
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know what they are. I think they must be worn out.
Okay, okay, just asking, just clarifying, thank you.
Yeah, so, so those to me are the highlights of what we're looking at next year, but I don't want you to let all the department heads off the hook, and nor should you let me off the hook. But what I did was really took the back of our strategic plan and said, if I'm looking at this, what things do I want to pull out of the budget that are aligned with our strategic plan? There are other things, of course. There's equipment, and if you would like to know about the pieces of equipment, we can go through those. The police department is planning to buy 3 cars, for example. We have a Jaws of Life plan for the fire department. We have mowers planned for the Parks Department. I don't know that that should be a surprise to anybody. We plan to buy a 1-ton truck next year in the street department. You see those things as they come forward to you in your budget. So we can talk about those pieces of equipment. One of the things that surprises me is the cost of the sweeper. That's in 2026. We used to buy sweepers for, $200,000, and now they're double the price. But I guess I'm at that age now where I can say, well, this used to cost, a nickel. But it's just amazing to me how much equipment costs. But we can talk about the equipment in each department if you'd like. But we do have a replacement schedule, which you approved, and we don't replace things unless we need to, or unless we feel that the equipment has the number of man hours where it's sensible to replace because of the type of equipment it is. For example, there are a few pieces of equipment where we just need to make sure they're in good working order at all times because of the emergency work that they may need to perform. So, what do you guys want to talk about and build and tell us to budget for?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
First of all, I just wanted to say, even though it's not fancy and, great looking, replacing roofs on our buildings is important to the people because it's their building, their investment, so it's a good investment. And I'm thinking further down the road, 2 things that are coming up. At some point, Meridian Bridge is going to have to be addressed, I believe. The library, and there's other things that come up. I think maybe we need to take a deeper look into some of the services that we provide. And I know everybody loves recycling, but recycling is expensive. And, maybe we need to make some changes in that to cut the costs for the citizens, cut the costs for the city. Because if things continue the way they are, it doesn't look like it's going to get better anytime soon. So maybe we need to have a session where we take a look at everything and see if there's other ways to cut costs.
Okay. Commissioner, yes, go ahead.
Maybe it's more for Kyle. When's the Cedar Knox water thing going to come on? Do you have any update on that, Kyle? At least some positive news here, maybe.
Thank you. The positive information is they do have all their funding in place. They're a little bit behind on some of their project reviews that they have to do through the state. So they're looking at possibly tying in this fall, but most likely next spring. So, but like I said, they do have their funding in place. The project's still moving forward. Just a little bit behind schedule for them. So.
Okay, good question. Any other comments, questions, ideas, commissioners?
Any thoughts on the 29 water plant roof? Kyle and I kind of batted that around this morning, and
That's a great question.
we're going to get an estimate at least.
Yeah, I think
And see, I mean, it's an old building and
I guess I'd ask, is there been expressed interest of something that would materialize? I mean, you can't share stuff, I understand that, but.
we've had a lot of
I know there's been a lot of
ideas, and every idea we've had, once people see the building, they kind of like, wow, to make that work. But, you know, it's, the location is so great that I guess there's always been thought on the commission and among staff that there's got to be something that's going to work down there at some point, and the thought that we would want to lease that to the right tenant. Also, you know, a roof is probably less than taking the building down. And we're using it now to store things, and that's not necessarily a bad thing either.
Besides the roof, it's structurally sound.
I believe so. I'm here seeing nods. Yep.
It's my personal feeling that we have to be good stewards. This is a building that's owned publicly. I think we need to be good stewards of it. I don't think it's in our, you know, in the community's best interest to not put a roof on it, not keep it in good shape for the potential in the future. I think if you don't put a roof on it, you defer the maintenance longer and longer. I think you lessen the chance of having somebody do something good with the property.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would want to take it on if they knew they had to do a roof on it.
Oh, absolutely. A long time ago, we talked about this publicly. There was asbestos in there, and I believe we had that remediated.
I believe we
correct?
removed that as a step forward in the process, so that wouldn't have to be done because
Okay.
there was a state grant
Right. I
that
knew
we could
there was
access.
something like that. Yeah, good.
Yeah, so that's
a huge
gone.
project, yep.
You know, it wouldn't be right now something somebody could just utilize because of some, ADA compliance. It has to be creative, but we've always just thought there's something that could be done there.
The water treatment facilities like that, those have been done in other areas. I have seen where somebody has done something creative with them to utilize that the mechanical, the kind of that aesthetic. It's an interesting aesthetic because it has history. Everybody uses water. You've got these large pits. What I wanted to ask Kyle is, can we get your assessment of the building, looking at it? What your, I know. You came over to speak, and I want to let you have a chance to speak if you could.
Thank you, Ben. And I've been on tours with Ben too, and I'll be the first to admit mine's a very, I don't have a really creative mind, so I don't see some of the things other people see. But the one thing I would say about the roof is the roof definitely has issues and needs to be addressed. Maybe not today, but it's something that needs to be looked at. One of the concerns that would be about replacing the roof, then you're limiting future access by, it might be a good time to do some work inside the building while the roof was off, like filling tanks and things like that. So possibly, maybe not actually doing the roofs ourselves, but making that part of the incentive is if you would lease the building, we would pay for the roof and things like that. Because it's going to be a very complicated building to retrofit in anything with the tanks, the roof issue. It's very pieced together in different decades of construction, different types of construction, and things like that. So it's just not an easy project. Maybe having the roof be something that we would be willing to incentivize somebody to come in and actually take a swing at doing something with the building.
That's a wise take on that. Having toured the building too, and I think you could always say that it has good bones, maybe is the right way to say it. It's a fantastic location. I really do mean, like, there's more concrete in that building that I think it's amazing the amount of sheer strength that building has to have based on what it is for. But
The issue is it's a lot of really good solid concrete,
Yeah.
but some of it's in the wrong places.
Right,
Which makes
fair.
it difficult to retrofit to something else.
Right. Okay.
I've got one more quick question. How long, so you're talking about something that maybe doesn't need to be addressed right now. how long do you think we could go without addressing it? That comes around to, if we're talking about like incentivizing a roof for somebody, but you can only do that for so long. I'm worried about deferred maintenance. I'm worried about, water comes in, water does its thing. It doesn't do good things. It mainly just does bad things. I know it's a water treatment facility, so I mean, it's pretty, it can take some water, but I just want to be cognitive of something that, this is something that is the community's, and I don't want us to be bad stewards of the property.
I think the first step would be to get somebody in who has an expertise in that to do that assessment. I can't give you that answer, but that would probably be the first step, would be to bring somebody in who can give you that answer and to do that analysis.
Yeah, I think we have some idea when we did the phase one, when we did the building assessment before so we can pull that document back out and look at the condition assessment. I think that was done in 23, perhaps. I don't exactly remember, Brad, do you? But we did have an engineer take a look at the building before when we were thinking about doing an RFP.
We have that analysis. We also have, because you've seen so many roofs on there, it means we've been having conversations with roofing folks. And so we've been asking them to periodically look at a number of our roofs. This is on the list. The folks have taken a look at it. We don't have the report back, so I can't give you the number of years, but you probably have enough fingers to count the number of years on one hand that we need to probably be thinking about it, but we don't have the report back yet. The good news is you're right that the type of construction of the building has meant that any minor infiltration we have hasn't caused an enormous amount of damage inside. The risk, of course, is the damage to the roof itself, and the type of materials of the roof probably aren't going to make the replacement cheaper or easier.
Okay. So for sure, I would say we at least get that information. We have to make sure we're at least maintaining it. We don't have a huge leak in there, but as Kyle was saying, maybe deferring that, but at least maintaining it for sure. As Ben, you were saying, being good stewards of a public building. Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing no mics come on for the city manager, are you?
Yeah, I just ask for folks' input because I know this is a lot to digest, so you may think of things, or you might get home and go, oh, I should have asked this, or I had a thought or an idea on this, and I'm going to visit with the commissioners that aren't here this evening, and certainly I'll take input from the public. Our next steps here is, we'll make some adjustments based on the feedback we have, and we're going to start working on our utility proposals. We're working on the utility rate assessment right now, utility rate study. That'll come back to you. And then we're working on operating, so making the operating budget. So that'll be for you then in August. So kind of a long process, but you'll see, I think, rates, the utility rate study, July 13th. So that'll be the next step, and then we'll work that into operating. So lots of time yet to discuss and visit, and if somebody wants to come in and talk one-on-one with budget with Lisa and I and Dwayne, happy to do that too. You know where to find us.
That sounds good. Now, I do see there's a couple people from the public sitting here. I'm definitely open to take any public input if there's input for this discussion as well. Anybody? Sure.
You can come here, Commissioner. I'll move away here. Let you have the microphone.
This thing on. So ours is tricky at the county. It's got buttons. So honorable commissioners, Mr. Mayor, Dan Clemish here. Just like to first off thank you guys for the strong partnership we have between the city and the county. It's really an honor to work with you guys, and looking at your budget, like our budget, it's pretty tough, and I know we're going to get through that. I'm not here speaking for the county commission. I'm here speaking for myself today, but I am asking if you guys would at least consider some support for the county ambulance. This has been a topic for years and years, and it goes back a long ways. The funding source that we have at the county, I just don't feel that it's going to be sustainable long-term for us to maintain the great service that we have with the funding that the county has. You guys probably know Yankton County is the only county-run full-time ambulance in the state. Quite frankly, talking to fellow commissioners from around the state, that's because the counties can't afford it the way we're set up. And we're really seeing the strain. Some of the pictures that you guys had on road maintenance and all those costs, the county is seeing the same things, and we have a lot of unfunded mandates, and we're lucky that you guys don't have that. So I don't want to put a dollar amount to it, but I'm just asking you in your discussions that we please think about it. Any amount would be greatly appreciated, and this is going to be an issue into the future, and that's something we need to talk about. The sooner we get some sort of an agreement worked out, I think the smoother it's going to be, and we shouldn't wait years and years down the road because it's going to be a lot tougher. I know when we did that study together a few years ago that the building we have is old and outdated, difficulty maintaining people with low wages. I'm going to meet with our director tomorrow, Jeff, and he's got some numbers he doesn't have quite ready, but we can get you those, and if somebody wants to join us and look at the numbers. And quite frankly, I think this is just about public safety, right, for our community, for our county, for our neighbors. When you dial 911, you want the ambulance to show up, right? And so just asking you to consider something for the county ambulance. It's really our ambulance, right? We're Team Yankton here. It's not the city or county. We're one team, and I really just appreciate working with each and every one of you guys, and we do it for our citizens and the community we love. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Klimish. Okay, anyone else from the public want to make a comment? Okay, seeing no movement. I know. I need my agenda. Find my agenda back here. Okay. Got it. Okay. There we are. So that is ends the budget discussion then. So right now, the next item on the agenda is future business. So this is the time for any commissioner to address the commission for any business they'd like to see coming on a future agenda. Now is the time to bring that up.
I don't have a future agenda item, but if I'm correct, Saturday is Rib Fest, Chislik Fest. We made the decision to try to encourage those activities down at Riverside. I'm really looking forward. I think the people are going to really enjoy having it down there. So I'm anxious to see the comments, the feedback.
Well, thanks for bringing that up. It should be a great time. Commissioners, anything else you'd like to see on the agenda? Or I guess at this point, any shout out you need to give or want to do? Now's the time. Forever hold your peace. Okay, so you know mics pop on. I will take a motion then to adjourn the meeting of June 8th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed nay. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.